Hey everyone, thanks for stopping by. If you're new here, my name is Lita, and today what I would like to do is to talk about transitioning from a system I've been using in 2020 and for a couple years before this as well. I have been using a Stalogy style notebook, and I am transitioning over to my first time in Hobonichi notebook, and I'm also going to be using the weeks. So I have both of my systems here, what I've been using, and what I'd really like to do is to kind of do a comparison to show you how that transition has happened. So first of all, let me just start with what it is that I have here. Let's get right into it. So this little cover is just for ephemera. It's a little leather, actually it's a checkbook cover from a restaurant. I think it's maybe 1 or 2 years ago, maybe 2 years ago in Woodstock in New York that my partner took me to. And I like to put little ephemera and whatnot in there that I have an affection for, that I like to use. So I'm going to be keeping this, and I'm going to continue to use this in 2021. I'm going to be able to put that into my Hobonichi large drawer pouch that I'll show you in a moment. So temporarily through the end of December, this past week, I just transitioned out from, I was using a Hobonichi cover in chocolate color, and I had this designer cover on cover that has a leaf character on it. So I had been housing my Stalogy inside here, but I've taken it out now and I have put it into one of my leather covers from Chic Sparrow. This leather cover happens to be from their Hemingway collection. It's in the color Havana, and it is an A5 size folio. So this is what that looks like. And until January starts, this is where I'm going to keep. This is actually a half-year A5 edition of a Stalogy. So this is what I'm transitioning out of, and what I'm going to be using and going into is, as I said, this is an A5. It's chocolate cover, Stalogy, and it has a Eric cover on cover on it, and inside I have an A5 Cousin Avec. So this is what I will be using beginning January 1st. I also have, this is my wallet. This is from the 2020 collection from Hobonichi. And inside I am housing a camp weeks, and I'm using this was, I think, a limited or special edition that they did, collaboration. That's what it was. It's a collaboration that they did with Steve or Steve. I'm not sure how to correct it properly, but Steve or Steve, however you say it, it's a it's a premium teddy bear or stuffed toy, not just teddy bears. They're famous for their teddy bears, but they make stuffed toys, and this was a collaboration with them. And you can probably guess from looking at this little brown furriness, this is kind of like one of the fur textures from their teddy bear. And I am forever young, a child inside, and I do admit that I like a few stuffed animals, and I do have a little miniature, I believe, stuffed animal somewhere here in my bedroom, just a little one that when I lived in New York, I used to stuff it in my pocket, sometimes with a little head peeking out. I know, it's silly, it's crazy. But anyway, so I'm using this wallet to house my weeks, which I will be using and carrying in. I've already started using it, and I'm carrying it, as you can tell, because this is an active wallet. You can see my cards are in there. I have my lottery tickets, some receipts, I have some cash, etc. But so that is part of what I will be using. And then in 2021, what I'm also transitioning over into is I have this large pouch from Hobonichi, and I carry several different products in there. My weeks and my Cousin Avec actually fit both in here if I take them out of their covers. I could fit this in here, I've done it, but it's very tight to zipper it up, so I probably won't be using it that way. But I am housing various different supplies and whatnot that I will be using in here in the future, so I will be using that as well. So I'm going to put the weeks aside for now. And I'm also gonna put my drawer pouch over here, just kind of within reach. And I will put this already down into there, my little ephemera, because I won't be needing that. And the next part of this, what I would like to do is to try to show you how I'm transitioning from this A5 half-year edition Stalogy into a Hobonichi Cousin Avec. How am I going to make the things that I used in the past somehow fit and work into this predated, preset, already, you know, completed type of planner? So here we go. Let's step in. So first of all, one of the elements of a Stalogy, which many people are familiar with, is that in the very first page and in the back page, there's always this kind of gray page that starts it out. And I have enjoyed decorating this. And in my new Hobonichi Cousin Avec, I've also done the same thing. I've decided to do the front, and just like my Stalogy, I've left the back blank, so you can see the blank is also back blank in here in the back as well. So for whatever reason, that's how I do. Now, I've always kind of enjoyed, since I am starting fresh in 2021, I never make it through. I always, in the past, I've always needed somewhere between 3 to 4 Stalogy books for a year, because of how extensively and the multiple ways that I use my journal. I use my notebook for some planning. I used to use it once upon a time for heavy planning, but I use it for some planning. I do use a month section, I do use a week section, and I do have daily sections, and I do have collections. I do memory keeping, I do planning, I do brainstorming, I do all types of things. I even get a little artsy every once in a while. Okay, so this, how I like to start out kind of the beginning of the year with something. I don't have a quote on this page yet, but I imagine myself eventually putting some type of quote here on this page. I have to make a decision, but I did go ahead and decide to put a sticker on here. As you can probably tell from this, and if you've watched a few of my recent months videos, like November, December, maybe even October of 2020, I have been going into this outdoor adventure type of nature camping theme, hiking themes. And I've decided in 2021 that outdoor adventure is going to be my theme for the whole year. I'm feeling confident about my choice in that. Like I said, I want to simplify things, which is part of why I'm moving into the Hobonichi. So picking one theme for the entire year falls perfectly within that. And also, I just feel like that's going to be a huge part of my upcoming vision board that I'm going to be creating. So that is that. I do have some collection type pages that are in the beginning of my Stalogy notebook, and some of those things are indexed. I always would put in little address, phone number information for family. I had a future log with my calendars. The reason you only see 6 is because I knew that this half-year notebook from Stalogy would only last me about 3 months through December. So I didn't feel a need to put 12. I put 6, January, February, March, so that I could do a little bit of future planning. I have this part of my collections, my online orders, my playlist, which was a fail, and my reading list, which is actually good and is missing a number of things on it. So how I'm going to address that, and how I've decided after playing around and trying to transition through October, November, and December to how will I work with my Hobonichi, which is part of what I did in my transition, is November and December especially, but I believe in October as well. I started trying to do things in my Stalogy in a way that I felt might work well into the months, weeks, and dailies of a Hobonichi. And you could look at some of my flip throughs that are a bit chatty these past few months because of that, because I've been working out this process for myself. So I showed you some of the things that I have in there, and this is how I feel it will work for me, what I've decided to try to do for inside my Hobonichi. So I do have calendars. I have 2020, 2021, and 2022. I do have a sticker from ARIEBEA, which is where these all came from, and I will try to link that down in the comments section. If I don't remember and you're interested, then, you know, just leave me something in the comments. Yeah, so here, I got these stickers from ARIEBEA to do this, and there is one large sticker in here that actually goes and covers this up and makes a nice white space if you want to write notes in there. But I chose to leave it because I do like to occasionally reference back into the calendar. So for now, I want that available. What I've decided to do, and this is the yearly section, these tabs that I have here, and I'll show you the tabs that I have along here. I have January through June tabs in here for the dailies as well. But I have my yearly, and then here I'll have my monthlies. I put tabs for that so that I will be able to find that. And here in the yearly section, what I'm thinking I will probably do is down in this section here, I'm not 100% sure about what I will do with this very top section where there's a 1, 2, 3, but in here I'm thinking to do an index in this each month of my yearly, and then in this space down here below I will use for a future log, because if you look over here, you'll see I don't really have a whole lot of appointments and this and that. I'm single, my kids are adults and grown up, so I don't have, and right now my career, my whole life has completely changed. That I went from being a career woman living in New York City with an excessive abundance amount of things to do and remember to being mainly focused to taking care of my mother, who had fallen ill at the beginning of 2020. I've been here with her on lockdown since in March. So my appointments are very, very minuscule, very small amount. So this space is going to be okay for me to work with. And if I have any overflow, I feel confident that I can use it here in this area as well. But so that is what I plan to do for my future log and for using with my calendar, because I feel those are things that I need. Okay, let me put these to the side. Now, I talked about online orders, and I talked about reading resources, and also there was my phone numbers and whatnot in there. In the back section of the Stalogy, so how I'm transitioning over from that is here they do have a space for addresses, which I have intentionally not filled out because I knew I was going to do this video and I don't need to be putting a piece of paper over that. I just decided I would wait. Now, there are some extra pages in between here that I don't see myself using, like this one and this one. Also, there are some more here, these 2 more pages here. These pages, what I'm thinking I will do is I will take some of the leftover pages from my Stalogy in the back, and I will take them and I will fill out my reading list, and I will literally take those pages and I will glue them down, tip them in, not tip them in, I will glue them down in, over, and cover these pages. So I will put those things in there. Here, there's also a My 100 list, which I will show you what I'm thinking will kind of help me with that. Okay, so other than that, let's go and jump to the monthly. Here we are. No, these are my weeklies. Okay, let's do weeklies. So, you know what? Wait, actually, I will revert back to saying let's do monthly. So in the past, I always divided my last month from my new month with something, either last couple of months I've been doing this where I have been finding photo images of things that I enjoy and using those images to divide my months, like here we go, like this. But in the past, I've also done where I've drawn and sketched and filled in or colored stuff, or yeah, for the most part, yeah, I've done some watercoloring or some sketching or whatnot. But in the past few months, I've been finding images that I like, put some type of quote, and that this has been my divider. So since I won't have that anymore, that is why I had gotten these tabs from ARIEBEA. so that this is going to be where my monthly dividers are, and so that I can find it real quickly, go to whatever my next month or that current month is. And I'm planning to use this to help me identify where I'm at in any specific day. So let's look in the monthly setup. There's also what I consider a certain type of basics that I always used in my Stalogy. In the A5 half-year edition, I always have been doing a 2-page spread, but this is my December spread for right now, and it is the most transitioned, most morphed of my calendars. I have slowly gotten to this calendar that my whole attempt was, let's go to the monthly tab. You see how good I'm doing? So if you look at this Hobonichi calendar, you see it's 2 pages. You see there's some space on the side. You see there's some on the bottom. There's the day and dates for each, and there's like a space for 11, 12, 13, and also for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. I did in December my best to kind of imitate and make this. See, I have that side here, even though it's not utilized. I went ahead and I made it, and I've kind of gotten myself to where I'm very comfortable with this 2-page spread, and how this is going to be. It's going to be a very nice smooth transition. On the side, I'll use to make any notes for any little extra things that maybe are happening in that week, in case, because this is how I have been using it and how I plan to continue to use it. I normally put something inside the day to show what I did that day, what I really enjoyed about that day, what something positive, what the best aspect of that day is. You get the idea. But let's say if I doodled in there, and then now I was like, oh wait, if I filled some of this stuff in, I was like, I need space for notes, but I don't have a note for that day. I still have this space on the side where I can write a note, which on this day, that's exactly what happened. There's a day in this week where I needed to write a note about something and that I needed to do that week. And it didn't need to be done on a specific day, which is why it wasn't on a daily and it wasn't on the weekly. It's just something that I wanted to remind myself of. And I said, let me fill that in and put it there. So that's on my monthly, how I'm transitioning. Now, this was something that I was like, whoa, what am I going to do? I have always, for the last 2 years that I've used Stalogies, I've used B6 and A5. I do have an A6, but I never could get myself to use it. But I've always had a page that's like this that I call my Carpe Diem. For a long time, I used to call it my hustle. I know when I lived in New York and I had a B6 Stalogy, I used to call it my hustle pages. And it's basically what everyone else calls a brain dump. So you could see I started to use it and how it has all these post-it notes. But in December, I decided that what I'm going to be doing on here, my whole brainstorming, what I was doing with, I realized, wow, I'm not even going to have enough space, and anything I write in here, I'm going to have to move over into my Hobonichi. So I'm just going to, it became part of a bigger project. This is my book that it has all types of maps for different hiking paths and nature trails. And in the back here, I have some loose leaf paper. And I talked about that one page in the back that it says my 100. So I have been writing down and tracking different types of trails in the state of Florida that I plan to put into my 100. So that's why this is so blank, because normally my brainstorming page, it looks more like this. I'll show you. Like this. I've always been able to really utilize these brain dump pages, my Carpe Diem and Hustle. And so this is probably the first time in a long time that you would see it so barren. But what I've decided, what I will end up doing in my transition is that when I get to these months, each month has before the first day, you get a blank page. Like this is January 1st, but this is January 1st as well. You see that this is like a blank page, and each month is like that. You get one for each month, a nice little blank page that you can do exactly that. I'm guessing it's like you could either do a summary and review. Here's for February. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this first page of each month, and I'm going to start using that for like what my brain dump is. That's how I'm transitioning that over. So now we go into the weeks. So my weeks, I think, is the one thing I don't have labeled off, which I need to get a tab for. And I actually have some little tabs that I bought from Yoseka Stationery. These are Stalogy. Ironically, these are Stalogy tabs. I have these little Stalogy sticker tabs that I got from Yoseka, and I'll be using that to mark where my weeks start. I'll be able to move that over. But also, this is something I've gotten. It's amazing. I love it in my Stalogy. I was actually really using these little string tabs. This is also another way where I can mark wherever my month is. If whatever is going on with the sticker, I can always mark my sticker, but I'm thinking I'm going to be using this as well just to show where my weeks are. So my weeks, I did the same thing in I'm not sure, did I do this in November? I don't know if I started this in November. Let me take, no, I didn't. Okay. For years, I mean, before I started using Stalogy, when I first started journaling, I experimented with all different types of weeks layouts, and at some point I ended up deciding this is what worked for me, and I've done it for years, that I have done this horizontal type of a spread for my weeks. So I decided that in December I needed to try to do this vertically, and just like I did with my monthly, I really did my best to mimic how the layout is on here to how it would be on here. I have the space on the side there, just like they have it here. I didn't write in a calendar here just because the extra work and I was being lazy. I didn't feel like doing that, but I do like that they have it here because I'm one of the people that never knows what day and date it is. I swear I never know. It's like all day I'll be like, what day is it? What day is it? What day is it? So I do like that, but I didn't write it on here. But what I did do is I put the Monday through Sunday. I left a little space at the top, like how they have underneath the date here. And then I left space all the way down. So what I started doing at first was I started putting little like to-do check boxes up here. And by the third day of the month, I realized, no, that's not what I want to do. So I'm going to be utilizing these spaces up here for tracking my weather, because I am huge a fan. I love to track the weather. I'm a huge fan of tracking the weather. How the weather is going to affect how and what I do in my day, because I don't plan really far ahead unless it's some kind of vacation trip or travel. So I do plan for things like that. But in general, I kind of play things by ear as much as I can, depending on what the weather is. Like even if I do laundry, because I live in Florida, I like to utilize taking advantage of living in a sunny place. And instead of using the dryer, I'll hang out things on a clothesline just to decrease expenses. And like I said, use, what nature has outdoors. I just go ahead and use the sun. So I won't always write down when I'm doing laundry. I will look at the forecast of weather, and I may get an idea that I want to do laundry Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, or maybe Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, based on the weather. And if I really believe like they don't know the weather until it's happening. That's how I feel about the weather forecasters. But so I do like to put the weather, how if I decide to hike or bike, how I'm going to exercise my day. Many things in my life are affected by weather, so I decided to do that. And I'm keeping track of the weather and the temperature up in that section. And then I've done where each day I am creating somewhere between 5 to 7 to-do type checklist boxes at the top. And I started tracking my water again. And I also, each week I started utilizing this space for weekly habit trackers. And it's really working. As you can see, I'm kind of figured out a little system for myself of activities and also my water. Just the way you can do in Stalogy. But that's what was great about having the Stalogy and being able to use it to transition over into my Hobonichi, because now I know that what I'll do is I'll probably end up having my trackers, weekly trackers over here, and also my hydration, or I may put my hydration into each day. It could change. I mean, there's still some flexibility for some room for change and flexibility within a Hobonichi to obviously use it how it works best for you. So yeah, that takes me through to my weeks. And then the dailies, I'm not feeling any type of stress out about it at all. I don't know if I started in October doing this. Yes, I did. Back in October, I started where I was going to try to do one day a page, the way that a Hobonichi has their dailies. Like I did 3 and 4 the holidays, the weekends I tend to do that. But I started back in October with doing these daily pages. And I continued to do it all the way through into December, that I'm just using daily pages. Occasionally I do put my weekends together, as you saw, that's Wednesday. I know that my weekend's in here somewhere, but maybe this was my weekend. No, that's Tuesday. So, oh, it's in between here. There it is. The weekend was all on one page. So my weekly is going to be my daily is going to work out just fine. I don't see any kind of problem with it. I'm just going to do what I've been doing, and I'm going to use this for journaling. If I want additional space over here for checklist or for schedule, I know that I can be flexible and use that part and here's the little to-do list section, here's for scheduling, and then the rest of this space is open and available, including this part on the bottom. I'm comfortable writing or gluing or doing whatever over that if I want to. So my dailies are going to be fine as well. I'm really enjoying using all of the different pockets in the Hobonichi. I started doing this. This is all filled up. This is the same stuff I had in there from when I had my Stalogy inside. I haven't taken it out. I'm just keeping this on my desk and reaching in for anything that I want to use. Because I'm using this folio. So because of that, I'm just, not stressing myself out. I'm leaving this on my desk near to my Stalogy until January 1st comes. So these are some more stickers I got from ARIEBEA shop as well. So that is how my transition is going as far as my Stalogy. Now I did go ahead and get the weeks that I showed you, and this week's is going to be very specific, the use. I've decided that I want to track health and wellness, and I'm going to be using this is also in that camping outdoor adventure theme. So the weeks, I put a little sticker here in front, and I decided not to do any type of decorating to the inside of this page. I did go ahead and I decided also not to buy any stickers for my 2020, 2021, and 2022 yearly calendars. I did create a little key for myself down here because, oh good, I have it covered. Okay, so I screwed up. I don't know what was going on with my brain, but somehow I thought January was December. I don't know what was going on. I just got excited. But on the Stalogy, I'm sorry, not Stalogy, in the weeks, the Hobonichi weeks, at the very top here, there's a section where there's a space here at the top. What I did is numbered it 1 through 7. And what I have done is that for each of these different spaces, what I plan to do along the top of here in my yearly section is to track my weight. I'm going to do a weigh-in at the very beginning, the first day of the month. And the 2 through 7 is going to be different body measurements like neck, chest, waist, hips, thighs, and calves. Now this section down here below is going to be where I'm going to be tracking if I either, let me go to my key, if I either hike, walk, if I have a walk, if I have a nature hike, if I bike, if I do yoga, or if I do melt method. And I think I might add one extra one, which is maybe a C for like a cardio class, if I do a cardio class or some type of video for cardio. So I may add a couple things to my key, but also in my key I have notes for birthdays, appointments, events, and holidays. I have a key for those 4 things as well. And that's what these stars and these triangles are, because like I said, my brain just failed. And for some reason I got so excited I thought that was December. I'm gonna tell you, I know what it is. It's because of this, because they give you a month of December in advance when in the monthly section, and I assumed that it also, I just didn't read. Number one error in failing tests, don't read the instructions. Okay, this didn't come with an instruction manual, but because I saw December monthly, I somehow forgot that this was January, and I just got excited and I started recording stuff. So I plan to keep this very minimal. I'm going to be using the monthly calendar section mainly just for appointments. I'm going to be using the yearly section for tracking my health and wellness. And in the weeks section, I'm also using these little tabs here. Here we go. So in the weeks section, let me show you active weeks. Okay, what I'm doing here is I really played with it this month. I'll start from the beginning so you can see. Okay, I knew I was gonna, yet again, I know it's redundant, but I love to track the weather. So I have the weather here, even though it's redundant, and I know I'm doing it twice, once in my Cousin Avec, and I'll end up doing it once here. I'm okay with that. You don't have to be redundant. I know I am being, and I'm good with it. It makes me happy. And it's my journal, so I'm going to. Now, in this next section over here, I was tracking on this side. This is information about when I walk or if I hike. Here I rested, but I put in things like how many steps, I'll put in how many miles, how many calories, my heartbeat, average heartbeat was the rate or the maximum heartbeat rate. I also put in where it was that I perhaps took a hike at. And over on this side, I had my breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks. And then over on this side, I have my grocery lists, my shopping items, which I could also do more of like put meal planning, like if I wanted to brainstorm meal ideas. Now this week, my big elaboration was I put a line here, and I put a line here, and I'll tell you what it was is because I felt like this didn't give me enough room to write what my food was that I was eating, and I needed more space. So I made a line there, and here I just kept up what I was doing, and I think I must have, yeah, that's all. I'm putting the temperatures and I'm putting the weather here, and this is whatever my activity was, and this is my grocery list, my ongoing grocery list. Anything that I still needed from that I didn't have crossed off here, I just went ahead and put it over here. Also, this is not just grocery list. Actually, over here, I have a couple non-grocery related items. Like I was getting an iPad and I needed a new music stand. So I'm putting other shopping items there as well. So then here in this week, you can really see how I've settled into it. It's basically everything I've just mentioned to you with, I got a little washi happy and I put a couch there because I was doing a lot of chill and Netflix that day. So this is how it's working for me the weeks. And yeah, I just use the tabs to separate each month so that I'll be able to find it when we get there. In the back of the Hobonichi section, there again are these different types of things, pages that I am not using. So I will probably be creating in my weeks and also in my Hobonichi, I will be creating two different My 100 lists. One of my 100 lists, which I plan to put into here, since this is mostly health and wellness, is going to be my 100 Florida trails that I pulled out and I showed you this. Also, I'm going to be creating some 21 in 21 lists, like 21 tacos in 2021, 21 yoga poses that I plan to learn and do in 2021. Those are just, two ideas off the top of my head that I have ideas about. I wrote them down somewhere else. I have quite a few different ideas for 21 and 21 lists. And so I'm going to be doing the same thing, taking some of the paper out from my Stalogy, making a 21 and 21 list, and I'll be gluing them down into here. And yeah, I think that's it. That covers how I am transitioning over from my Stalogy into Hobonichi. I hope that you enjoyed that, and let me just put these things away. If you're also transitioning and you have any questions or if you have any suggestions, please leave me a comment down below and I will either answer your question as best I can or I will be happy to read your comment, and I appreciate any advice and suggestions that you think may help me in my journaling. So with that, I bid you all well, and wherever this meets you at, if it is morning, noon, or night, stay safe, take care, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye, everyone.